So my mother is usually a very calm and understanding person who'll take a lot of stuff without complaining. But when she gets angry she won't hesitate to bring up some sweet MC. My father meanwhile is the definition of a irritable mess who loves being extremely petty, and it's a good thing he and my mother aren't married anymore, because I don't know how she ever stood him. This particular incident happened 2 years ago. So my parents were finishing up a custody trial. My father was losing the trial and he wasn't happy about it. He decided in the summer of 17 feet to try to get back at my mother by taking a long vacation that goes through one of her weekends in the summer. Me and my sisters find this out fairly quickly as the summer begins, and we tell our mother, who texts my father thinking he made a mistake. The conversation went something like this: "Mom, are you taking the kids out to Beach Town from mm/dd/17 to mm/dd/17? Dad, yes I am. Mom, you know I have a weekend during that time, right? Dad, well if you want to have them, you can come pick them up and do whatever you want with them. What I'm doing is perfectly legal and within the law, as we have to pick up the kids when it's our time." Surprisingly, he was right. My mother was done talking to him at that point and said nothing more on the matter. She just told us to enjoy our vacation at Beach Town. So we spent a couple of days at the town. We've been to this place half a dozen times, so we are kind of bored. My father only likes it because he bought a summer home there and he knows the people there, and sometimes goes out to bars alone at night with my stepmother. Eventually the weekend comes around, and at 6 p.m, the time when a parent is supposed to pick up, my mother shows up at the summer house. My father is shocked and she asks for the kids, stating that she has rented a hotel room here and has clothes for us. We take a ride with her in a cab back to the hotel which she stayed at overnight, but she only packed 2 bags and only 1 set of clothes for us, which is odd as we're supposed to be here until Monday morning. Then she takes out her airline tickets. We are taking the next flight home. No one of us want to stay, of course. We are pretty tired of going to this place anyways, and we don't tell our father or stepmother. We fly home, and when Monday rolls around my father is calling to ask where the kids are. My mother answers and tells him they're back home and that if he wants to have them, he can come pick them up. My father is screaming over the line at this point, and my mother calmly tells him this is perfectly legal and within the law, repeating back to him what he texted her at the beginning of the summer. My father spends the rest of the vacation alone in Beach Town. I hope he enjoyed it with my stepmother, since he nor my grandparents, the only other people who can take us in his name, are in town custody or states, that we instead spend that time with our mother. During that free week she got with us, we went to the amusement park and saw a few movies. Overall we enjoyed that spectacle and time with our mother than going to Beach Town for the umpteenth time. Backstory: years ago, I worked at a hotel located right on a beach. So many people always come in and trying to run the scam to be upgraded to beachfront all the time. Please note, if you have thought about how to scam someone, there are a lot of others who probably have already done this before you. Front desk staff are not stupid idiots who don't know how to read when a customer is full of crap. Again, as this hotel is beachfront, there are 3 types of rooms overall. Beachfront equals most expensive, side and then city view, which is cheapest as some don't want to spend the extra money for a view. B equals boss, me equals duh, and JC equals jerk customer. Working graveyard shift one night, I see someone booked a city view room. As we are dead, front desk staff can do free upgrades if they choose. I see this reservation and think, hey, I will be nice and give them a free upgrade to the side and block them into a room on the 9th floor. The 9th floor is the highest we have, except the 10th floor is for the penthouse level. I move JC over closest to the beach. JC will have a great view. The JC walks in and immediately tells me he has a beachfront view room booked. Now for those that do not work in a hotel, no one ever says this. They always say I have a room reserved. So immediately I know JC is lying. I say, sorry sir, you booked a city view room. JC tells me no, he booked a beachfront, and I explain that a beachfront will be more expensive. JC replies that no, he was quoted this much and that's all he will pay. Enter malicious compliance. I tell him okay, I can upgrade you to the side. JC replied with that is acceptable. This is strike 2. Now I truly know he is lying, as if he truly booked a beachfront this would not have been acceptable. I change his room to the second floor and closest to the city as I can make it. This room was absolutely the worst room we had and the last one we ever used. The only time someone got booked into the room was when we sold out and no other choices were available. Instead of seeing a beach, he now has a wonderful view of our generator. B came in early that morning. I explained if he gets a complaint from JC this is what happened. I told him what room number 1 was going to put him in, to which B goes, "You were being incredibly nice." As I finished telling him the story, B asked, "So where did you put him?" B knows I would never be nice to a jerk as I had a reputation for malicious compliance on many occasions. I tell B the room number and he immediately knew what I did to JC and falls out of his chair laughing so hard. B says this is why I keep you around. Entertainment value. No one but you would ever have thought to do this to a jerk customer. B continues saying this best part, he thinks he scammed us and he screwed himself. If JC would have just shut up, JC had a great room. Now JC has the worst room possible. B tells me later that JC never did come down to complain. Moral of the story, if you are being a jerk, I will gladly give you a jerk upgrade. I do pro photos and was hired for a sporting event. A field of 180 top amateur competitors in the sport was narrowed down to 2 finalists. The winner would go on to big things, as well as landing a nice payday. It could definitely be considered a life-changing event. I shot a lot of great photos of the event, and at the award ceremony, all the attention was on the winner and none on the second place guy. So I offered to do pics of him with his second place trophy and family. As I was setting up the shot, his mom shoved me aside forcefully. I said, "I'm setting up here for some shots." She said I'm his mother. I stepped aside while she snapped some portrait mode pics on her phone. My intent wasn't truly malicious as I intended to continue after she was done, but before she finished I was called over by the organizers, aka my paycheck signers, to shoot more photos of the winner. So I guess one might say it was passive malicious. It's sad that the second placer didn't get pro photos of the ceremony, but I'm never going to argue with I'm his mother. Background. My job history is a little varied. Offices, bars, childcare. I've done a bit of everything over the years. A couple of years ago I went through a rough patch and ended up having to claim JSA, Job Seekers Allowance, from the DWP. The building itself is one of the most depressing places possible. Everything seems just a little off. No clocks on the wall, army recruiters trying to get anyone to sign up in the DWP, debt for work and pensions, staff trying to get you to just give up and do everything they tell you. All in all, it's just a horrible place. The annoyance. My first appointment went about as well as you can expect. I've got a child, so needed to look just in school hours. The work coach spun that into I needed to search 7 days a week for 8 hours a day for work during those same hours with another hour of traveling each way. I argued, but the prospect of not getting any financial help at all made me sign. I was also told that there was a mandatory group session every day. Failure to attend would be grounds to stop everything. This is how it goes normally. You do what you are told, or they take the tiny bit of help you'll eventually get. Compliances. The first couple of days, I attended the group, literally spending the last of my cash to get there in time after dropping my child to school. But I also took the time to look up the DWP rules on what I had been forced onto. It turned out that any activity the DWP requires beyond the fortnightly signing on means they have to pay for your travel. Also, mandatory group activities were only for those that had tried for a few months to get work. I went to my parents and printed out enough copies of this rule for everyone at the mandatory group and for every other group that day. After 3 days we got monthly bus passes. After just over a week they told me the group session was no longer mandatory for me or about a dozen others. They never asked for the bus passes back either. A small win, but free travel for a month is huge when you have no income. The second stage of my compliance was directed at the work coach, for the fake rules she claimed were just how it is. I had another week until my second sign on, and I used that time to research, plan, and practice my employable skills. It was a very busy week. While looking for the group activity stuff, I'd found something better, the Decision Maker's Guide. It's the rulebook for the DWP, with requirements for benefits claimants and their own staff. It's one thing to think that things are wrong, it's another to be able to point to the rule and say why it's wrong. I listed everything in a master document and wrote down some of the most useful passages, such as evidence of job search includes uncorroborated written evidence or verbal evidence, DMG 21592. Determining whether the claimant was ass in any week requires a comparison between what they in fact did to seek work that week and what the law requires them to do, DMG 21597. There were pages and pages of notes, and I wanted to include as much as I could. So I created a slideshow for my evidence. This fulfilled two criteria. It showed my evidence and also meant that I could practice my employable skills. Also an important part of the jobs arc. This wasn't just a slideshow of work. This was death by PowerPoint. Everything had a transition effect. The slides, each sentence, the headers and footers, all set to slow. My JSA appointment was better than I thought possible. The work coach had her manager rating her for my appointment. I took out the borrowed laptop and began. I'll let the slideshow start, and after about 2 minutes the manager asked why I had written rules on some slides and my job search on others. Everything came out. The force's compliance to non-existent rules. We'd advance a slide, and then get into the next section of fake rules the work coach had forced. I never did get to the end of my slideshow. After 90 minutes, I was the one before lunch too. We were halfway, and the work coach was in serious trouble with her manager as I'd got evidence of everything that had happened so far. The manager forced a complete rewrite of my commitment to comply with the DWP rules. Hours were reduced to school times only, and I was reduced to the proper once a fortnight sign-on. I left them to it at that point. Because the DWP rules say that you can submit your evidence however you choose, I started working on finger puppets, shortcut skills, for my next appointment. As much fun as that would have been, I found a job the next week and the puppets have been in a box for the past couple of years. If you enjoyed the stories, slap the like and subscribe button for more of them, and don't forget to support the original writers with an upvote. Links are in the description. Peace out, and catch you tomorrow.